Okay, Kuf Lamed Tes 139. Mochar ben umesa'av. We're talking about the case where the father gave to the ben a gift of the field. Remember, the father is allowed to eat payros. Now, if the ben tried to sell off a piece of land while the father was still alive, and then the father died, that which is still connected to the ground, we estimate the value. And the value is given to the yorship. Even though, so we see that is which is mechuber to the ground is still shach to all the yorship. Amar ula loy kasha. Kan, our Mishnah we just learned, bibno. You're talking about a son that is going to be zoiche in fruit that's connected to the ground, that was given to him as a gift. The Baraisa Khan is Ba'ach, is giving the gift away to somebody else, not a Yorish. A father has a special feeling towards his son. He, besides giving him whatever is connected to the karka, is also giving him things that that were sold to other people, whatever. And he has das towards his son. Mishnah. The dead person leaves over adult and minor boys. Einak doilim is parnasin ayide. The older brothers cannot pay for their garments, their clothing, based on the cheshbon of the ktanim. As everything has to be shared equally. The ktanim nezinim, and you can't feed the ktanim with food on the cheshbon of the gdoilim. Elacholkim b'shaveh. They all get the same, according to their needs. Now, the needs of an adult 18-year-old is different than the needs of a 6-month-old baby. And the clothing is different, etc. But you give each what they need. Excuse me. You divide it equally, and then each person from their share gets what they need. Nasu agdoilim. The adult children got married. They made a big chuppah, a big wedding, from the general assets of the Yerusha. So yisu aktanim. The ktanim who will get married 10 years from now have the same right to get the same amount. Imamru ktanim, hare anu noisim kederach shenasasim atem. We want, you guys got married to Beverly Hilton. We want to be married the same place. Ein shoymin lahem. Elamash nosan lahem aviyem nosan. If the adult children got married when the father was alive, so he gave them in a matana. It was not a Yerusha. They can't get a bigger portion in their chelik of the Yerusha because they want to have the same kind of wedding that they got while the father's alive. Because the father can give a gift while he's alive. It has nothing to do with the Yerusha. What about for the girls? Same thing, older girls, younger girls. He had no sons. In that case, the girls share equally, like sons. The older girls cannot buy expensive clothing on the backs of the ketanis. The money is divided equally, and each one has to pay whatever their expenses are. The older girls got married. They also, for their needs, they took from the Yerusha. So Yisra Ktanis, the Ktanis, the same thing. If the weddings were done all after the father have died, so they will share equally in their expenses for the wedding. However, you guys got married when the father was alive at the Biltmore. We want to have the same wedding in Sherman land. Now that the father has died, the Yerusha doesn't have to provide them with that level. It's more stringent for girls than boys. One of the chayvos of the ksuba is that the unmarried daughters get mezonos from the estate. Let's say they're boys and girls. The girls get fed, the boys don't. The boys have to go knocking on doors and ask for tzedakah. Ve'ein zonos alabonis. They don't get fed on the cheshbon of the girls. Amarava. Hi Gadol ache dilvash ve'ichsim beisa. Now, there's an older brother. The older brother is sort of running the show after the death of the father. And he's buying fancy clothing because he has to go deal with executors and lawyers and bankers, which allows better business. My David Ovid. He gets to do it, and he doesn't have to make a cheshbon with them afterwards. That seems to be against our Mishnah. So, Masnisin Bishracha. Our Mishnah is talking about somebody who is just a batlin. He's not really working hard for the estate. So there's no concept of tzedakah to, be malbishim from the Yerusha. But by Rava, the gadol, the adult of the brothers is dealing with the family's business, that he's permitted to do that. So the Gemara says, Shracha Pshita, that seems to be a davar pashut, that he can't take extra from the Yerusha. Why would they give him extra money from the Yerusha? Maybe I would say, this guy's a nebuch. Maybe they don't want him embarrassing the good family name because of the covet of the family. Maybe he's allowed to dress nice. Kamash Malon, no, that's not a good enough svara. Nasuk doilim yisuktan. That after the father's death, the weddings have to be done equally. My kamar. Nasuk doilim la'achar misas aviyan. That's what we're talking about. If the Gedolim made a wedding after the father's death and they took a certain amount from the Yerusha, Yisuktani, the same way. Lachar misas aviyan. But if the father was alive and he made their wedding, and now he died, we want to get married on the same standard, ain't Shoyman land. That was a gift in his lifetime to the Gedolim, and the Ketanim cannot claim on that anything to recompense themselves. So Shalach Le'avua Bar Gniva L'Rabbi, Lamdenu Rabbeinu. A woman loaned money, and it was done bal peh, without a shtar. Excuse me, she borrowed money without a shtar. V'achla, with this money, she bought food. And before she was asked to pay the debt back, on the Venissus, she got married. And her rechush, whatever she has, is controlled now by her new husband. Is the Baal considered loikech avi? Is it viewed as if he bought these new assets? Is he a loikech? Is he a consumer from his wife? Or yorish avi? Or he's like a yorish? What's the difference? Do we say loikech avi and then umalval pe'in a goyvim ala kulchos? Right? If you have an undocumented loan and the person who owes you the money doesn't have any cash, he sold off his land and doesn't have anything. If he sold off a piece of land and he doesn't have metatlan to pay you, you can only collect from metatlan. You can't collect from assets meshubarim as if he sold. So somebody bought land from him. You can't go and get that land away from him. And therefore, if he's a lokeach, the people who want to collect money from his wife can't take it away from him. He's a lokeach. Even an undocumented loan without a star, you can collect from yorshim. Ormele Tanina. The answers are Mishnah. Nasuk doilois, yisuk tanois. that they both can marry on the same standard if it's after the death of the father. My love, we're talking about a case that Nosuk Doilis Lebal. They got married from the general estate for the needs of the chuppah. So and it's from the husband, Yisuk Tanos Mibal. So the Ktanos, they can also claim the money from the husbands of their adult sisters. So the Gemara says low. Nosuk Doilis Lebal, Yisugam Ktanis Lebal. That they collect their money, the general money from the estate for their weddings. But we can't learn from her any proof regarding the ability to collect from a husband. Versus Aini. It's not so. Vatani Rav Chia, Nosuk Dolis Labal, Yisuk Tanis Mibal. That they both can collect from the husbands. So the Gemara says, Dilmi Shiny Parnasa. That means girls that are waiting to get married, that are getting mezoinos. The din is like it's not like a loan. The Islay Kala. Everybody knows that the assets of a dead person is going to go to the mezonos of his daughter until they get married. So since it's so well known, it's like a malva bishtar. So even if the Baal was considered a lokeach, they can collect from him, even in that case, because it's like just like you can collect with a star if a piece of land was sold off to another person, you can go off to that other person, get the land back in payment. It can do it here as well. Isn't this Lavhaina de Shalach Rava? Isn't this the Shiloh that was sent to Ravin in a letter that Misha Mace, somebody who died, Viniach Almana Ubas, left a widow and a daughter. Almanasol Nizenis Minachasa. The widow gets fed from his estate. Nisus Abbas, if the daughter gets married, Almanasol Nizenis Minachasa, doesn't make a difference. The wife's ability to draw funds from the estate is not relevant whether the daughter stays unmarried or remains married. Even though there's a Baal to the Bas. Mesa Bas, if the daughter dies and the Baal inherits her, this I was present at this Maisa. The Amru Almanuso Nizes Menachasov, that the Almana can derive funds even from the husband of the Bas who died. Now, Yamit Bishlam Yorshav, that only makes sense if we view the Baal as a Yorish, not a Lokeach. He ended up the Yorish of the assets of the person who died. So there's still a shibud of the Almana on that asset. But if when a husband marries a woman, he's viewed as a buyer of the assets that are brought into the marriage, not as a Yorish. So the almana should be cut off, right? From the kuchas, she can't collect. Amr Abaya, he loved the shalach Ravin. If Ravin hadn't sent this anan lo yadina, we wouldn't have known that a Baal is Yarish Vatnan. Elu ein shein chayzrin biyovel. The following transactions do not return yovel. Habchoira. The double portion that goes to Bechor doesn't go back by Yovel. By Yorish Ishto. A husband who inherits his wife's assets after her death, doesn't go back to her family by Yovel. So clearly he's not considered a Lokeach, he's considered a Yorish. Somebody who buys assets has to return it by Yovel. Amalei Rava. Hashta. The Shalach Miyadinan. Now that Ravin sent this letter, you think we do know that a Baal is a Yorish? No. Rav Yosef Rav Chanina, but Usha Hitkinu. There were special takonos in Usha. That Ha'isha Shemachra Nichse Maluk. She has assets that she got from her father. She brings it into the marriage. While she's married, the Baal has the schus to eat perus. Now she goes ahead, the wife sells her assets to somebody else while the husband is alive. Umesa, and she dies. So Habal moitzim yar lekuchos. The husband had a pre-existing lien on these assets. He can go to the person that bought it from the wife and take it back. So he's like a loikech, not a yorish. So Ella on Rav Ashi, Baal Shavina Rabbanan ki yorish, v'Shavina Rabbanan ki loikech. The Chachamim, looking out for husbands, gave the husband a power both as a lokech and a yorish. Heicha de tovilei avdulei. Whatever works out better for him. If it works out better for him to be treated as a yorish, he's a yorish. If it works out better for him to be a lokech, we treat him as a lokech. How does this work? Gabi yoivel. Shavina rabbanan yorish. Otherwise, he would have to return the object. Now he doesn't have to return it. Gabi Rav Yosef Chanina, about a wife selling assets while he's alive. Shavina rabbanan kolokech mishum pseid didei. They also want to prevent losses to the husband, so they made him like a lokech. Gabi Rav, in the case of the mezoinus with the almana, mishum pseid almana shavina rabbanan ki yorish. Also, the Baal, in order, because they don't want the money to lose, the almana to lose, in that case, they made that husband who marries the bas like a yorish. So, V'hagabi Rav Yosef Rav Chanina, in a case where a wife sells the nichsim and look while the husband's alive, that the Baal can take it out l'kuchos. What about? Why aren't we concerned about the financial loss of the nebuch, the innocent people who bought money from this woman? Yet Shavina Rabbanan Klokeach, why aren't we concerned about their loss? So they lost their own money. Even the Ikabal, they know the laws that if there's a husband, the husband has first rights of use of the fruits. So they should have known there's a problem with the sale. Well, even they should have never bought a piece of property from a woman who was still married to a husband. They had to be smarter than that. So this ends a very long and important parak. Okay. Stop here. We'll start Misha Meis, which is another very important parak in Bava Basra. Tomorrow we have Tsurba at 8:00, so we will learn the Daf at 7:00. Okay.
Okay. Fine. Shkoyach, yesh no